Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and here is a video that I have eagerly been looking forward to sharing with you. The T92 is a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get into my new toy. So you've seen me practicing in the F89B and the F89D. I made a first impressions video, and it's a good thing I named it that, because literally the next day, Gaijin updated the flight model. The things that I said about the plane are still valid for the most part, although it has less of a tendency to rip itself, but I still managed to get an interesting wing overload when pulling some negative Gs and rolling at high speed, so that is something to keep in mind. Another thing to think about, look at that, direct hit on an owl from probably 2 or 3k out, just because I happened to see where an enemy might be and felt like ditching my HVARs. They're not useless. Welcome, lads and ladies, to one of my first, in fact this might be my first, ground match in the F89D, and we're going to take the skills we've been building in test flights and put them to the test. Now, intended use. Bomber interceptors. Some of those rockets are getting a little bit close. Of course, if we had any kind of guns, that bomber would be dead. If we were flying the F89B, I guarantee you we could shut down the skies. Because this jet at 7.3, even against 7.7 jets, it stands a chance. I'm talking about the model, the airframe. The rockets are not useful for shooting down an enemy, anything in the air. But they're not useless either. Look how quickly we start taking damage from the airfield AA, and of course how quickly the enemy Arado is able to return to his airstrip. Such is the nature of this map, and it kind of scares me that helicopter landing areas are also going to have AA, because the airspace is already so limited in so many maps. But when the times are tough, we pull a lot of dolphin maneuvers and we're able to escape the enemy airfield AA with our engines mostly intact. They do lose a lot of power when they take damage, so we're not going to be so effective, and yet pop the air brakes and come in within seconds. We're at our own airfield. Again, these maps are far too condensed when it comes to how close the airfields are to the combat area, especially for high tier, but even for low tier. These airfields are too close. Take a look at the way that the flaps and the air brakes work on the F89. They're a little bit buggy. You'll see them behaving strangely, and the flight model behaves very erratically in test flight when you use landing flaps. It'll jump around the way that a damaged BF-110 jumps around. After the flight model update on them in the last major update, although maybe that has changed. It's always being updated, War Thunder, and I really feel like we're constantly playing on a test server. That's one of the things that's had me down lately, and I'll be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to anything in this update other than these two American jets. I really encourage people to get excited about the Chinese tech tree. I really do think that it's something neat and something special, in that even though it has a bunch of vehicles that are already available in the game, as we get rid of some HVARs, they're rarely available in the same place. So it's interesting to have a chance to play your Soviet and American vehicles in a one-stop shopping environment. If nothing else, it can mix up the meta of War Thunder a little bit, and if we can attract some Chinese players to the game, then I think that's great. There is strength in diversity. As a plethora of rockets are launched at our ground target, and we quickly lose sight of his location, and you can tell that in the heat of battle, we're still very much getting a feel for how these rockets work, especially for where they're coming from. They are an interesting tool, and all of this, oh, those were some close hits. All of this is to say that I'm finally enjoying myself in War Thunder again. I was really grumpy when I came back to the game, mainly because of the sound system that's in War Thunder right now. I was getting upset with the way sounds work in War Thunder before this major update, because sounds were cutting out, and it's actually worse with the update than it was before, as we miss a direct hit on the what's that called, the PMP, which would give us a hull break. We'll come around for another pass and hope for the best. Now, I haven't shown it very much, but both models of the F89, especially in ground battles where they're not going to face a lot of 7.7 or 8.0, 8.3 aircraft, a lot of people still fly the rank 4 props in mixed battles, so you are extremely fast when compared with your competition. If you fly right, nothing can catch you. And here we are, flying wrong in another instance, trying to go into the vertical for, I think that was either an LA-7 or one of the later Focke-Wulfs, I'm not quite sure, but it was easily able to out-zoom us, starting from a higher altitude and having a lot more energy than we counted on it having. But look at how quickly we go beyond the speed of a diving prop aircraft and to infinity and beyond. Maybe I should make a Buzz Lightyear skin for this thing. Wouldn't that be cool? I would enjoy that. I still have fond memories. This is not a review video, by the way. This is the kind of video that I've really been looking forward to making, where I just share the things I'm enthusiastic about right now. So this is a hangout video, and I think about my channel fairly frequently. It's kind of a pretty big part of my life now. And I was thinking that I just felt like I haven't connected with you guys enough lately, and I think a lot of things add into that. I've been spending a lot more time playing Mount and Blade instead of doing things like screwing around on the Discord and reading all the messages. You can see we can just outspeed even these crazy powerful Russian props. They have the ability to produce energy, but we can get to high speed very quickly and then zoom in a shallow climb. He turns away, and that's what you see these enemies doing constantly. And now what I'm doing is I'm pretending to get into a dogfight with him. You really don't want to commit to a dogfight in the F89, as with most jets. It just doesn't have the maneuverability. And the F89D, of course, doesn't have the guns either. Now, we never saw that guy coming. I still got to get used to how the spotting or how the graphics work with the new update. I really, really love the increase in the dynamic range. That is, I talked about dynamic range before, but I'll explain it again. Dynamic range is something that your eye has a lot of ability to detect. The difference in shades of color and in lighting. In photography, those are called f-stops, and even in video games, dynamic range is measured in f-stops. So, your eye can detect, I think it's somewhere around 300 f-stops in range. To put that in perspective, most games have around 30-something f-stops. If you have a little bit more fancy coding and spend a bit more on memory and processing and the right programming, then you can have a little bit more. Once you get in the area of 60, you're looking at an extremely high fidelity image, and yet your eye can always see an improvement up to incredible numbers. Witness the power of the Mark I eyeball, and that's one of the reasons that you'll constantly find yourself squinting at games like War Thunder you're used to being able to make out more detail with your eyes than the game provides you, and things get fuzzy before they should. Games like War Thunder make me feel like I'm going blind. But it has to do with the limitations of the game. Graphical limitations that have been stretched out a bit as we go in for an attack, and I definitely have not gotten a feel for the rockets yet. We will get an air kill in this video, so enjoy seeing that one. The cloud of debris and smoke kicked up by the 75mm, is it a 75? I think it is, heat round on the T92 persisted for quite some time, enough to save us against that Panther II, very nice. And taking down the driver, passing clean through the ammo rack of that French whatchamacallit, but a second shot goes right into his breech, and a third taking him down. Our reload rate, amazingly good. Have I mentioned that the T92 is a great light tank? It really is. So, I've been enjoying myself in War Thunder for the first time today. I've had some quiet time, and this is really why I haven't been playing so much War Thunder, even now that the patch has dropped and I'm getting back into the game the way that I planned to. The girls are tag teaming me. So, we have a baby who's just about 8 months old, and we have a toddler who's 2, and both of them have their own way of taking up all of my time. They're both convinced that they own me, and they're not far off. So once again, you see that we can just zoom away from enemy aircraft. As I suspected, the playstyle of the F89D in mixed battles is very similar to the narwhal. You keep your energy up, you perform your attacks, and nothing can touch you. Unfortunately, you also have to worry about overspeeding, which is something you don't have to worry about in the narwhal. It doesn't have the ability to produce that much energy. As you see, we almost ripped our wings off there, and the lockup kicks in really quick, upwards of 500 miles per hour on the deck, so that's something to keep in mind. Another thing I haven't mentioned that I noticed recently is the F-89s love higher altitudes, upwards of 3K in altitude, and the airplane handles smoother. It has no apparent loss in power, and it outshines many jets at the higher altitudes, so that's something to keep in mind for Air RB, I'm sure. Also, enjoying the panda on that RU-251's turret. That's sort of my trademark. And I was having a blast in this match. I'm definitely still getting a feel for this aircraft, and I thought about taking out the F89B and shutting down the skies, but this is just so much fun. The Narwhal is the most enjoyable aircraft I've ever flown in War Thunder, and the F89D is not the Narwhal. But if you wanted to fly a jet that performs like the Narwhal only in the hands of a very skilled player, the F89D is that aircraft. I'm a huge fan of ground strike. It's the most enjoyable way to play the game for me. The F-89 sits in a place where it doesn't encounter too much radar-guided SPAA, as 7.3 and 7.7 are still a fairly popular battle rating, with 8.0 being a bit less popular, especially with 8.3 and 8.7 9.0 being much more popular. So the 7.3 battle rating that the F-89D currently has is perfect for it. I kind of feel like this could be a 7.7 jet. I really do. The way you can outfly everything, especially the Hortons and the ME-262s, I could definitely see this with a higher battle rating. It's very comfortable where it sits now, though. In any event, you can see me pulling off some more ground attack, and as I mentioned, toward the end here, you're going to see me get an air-to-air kill, and I'll tell you ahead of time, it ain't against another jet. I will be fulfilling the intended role. Ooh, nice shot. Spread those rounds. Spread those rounds. And we take down a BMP. We're going to kill an enemy bomber. A dive bomber, in fact. And you know what? I'll let the cat out of the bag. We're going to shoot down a Ju-87 with our rockets. It's going to look awesome, too. So I'm just going to ramble for a while. Like I said, I really feel like catching up with you guys, but the reason that I haven't been talking so much on Discord, and especially the reason I haven't been live streaming, I did share a video on that, by the way, is almost entirely because I've been spending a lot more time and attention on the girls. They're at an age where they both need a lot more of my attention than I could give if I was doing any significant amount of time live streaming, and it's either do a live stream or make a video like this when they're both asleep, which is an extremely rare occurrence. Do I sound happy? I kind of feel like I have a little miniature vacation here, and I still have a huge amount of feel-good chemicals in my bloodstream from playing the F89D. It really is everything I hoped it would be in Tank RB, but don't let my enthusiasm give you the wrong impression. This is a challenging aircraft to fly. It is punishing to people that don't know how to fly a jet. It is unforgiving to people that don't babysit it, and it demands your complete attention, forethought, and knowledge of the game. It must be a girl. That's starting to sound a lot like my girls. Anyway, I'm finally enjoying myself. Oh, look at that. We're almost overspeeding in a flat line, so we popped the air brakes. I do like how the air brakes look on this aircraft, by the way. They look beautiful. The animations on them are a little bit janky, but this is an aircraft that seems to be still in development, so you can buy it while it's being worked on. I'd be cautious with this one. Don't look for this as a top-tier grinder. I bought it because it's a special opportunity, so you can be crazy like me or you can do your own thing. Just don't let anybody tell you that I told you to buy this thing. Oh, there it is! That was so beautiful. Alright, man, what a fun moment. Anyway guys, I'm really looking forward to showing more replays on the channel. I'm thinking about interviews, but I haven't been talking with anybody. But if you know somebody that I should interview, I still love doing those. I'll make time. And let's see if we can belly land this thing. The belly landing bug, does it affect the F89? Well, we're slowing down nicely. So if you have a damaged airplane and you... Oh, there it is. The bounce. Why, Gaijin? Why? And yet, we survived. A minute of repair time. Looks like that'll buff out. Anyway, I am probably going to be spending a lot of time in War Thunder working on flying these two jets. I really enjoy flying them. I feel like they have a huge amount of potential, and that's just the next place for me to focus on in the game, as we, like Gaijin, remove the Coelian. And here, showing off a little bit of energy efficient evasive maneuvers as we zoom away. And it's just about that time to zoom away from this video. Jeez, it's been almost 20 minutes and the time has just flown. I really did miss you guys. And I think about you guys, especially I've been thinking about Friedzel lately, and AC and Butler. Butler, you're getting a little bit saucy on the Discord, man. It's like you know. Oh, also, in other news, real quick before I go, I'm really excited about Pathfinder, the tabletop game that I play on Sundays. I just made a character for my little brother. and he's really excited about getting into the game. So Pathfinder Log 9 is the first log of the campaign where I'm the DM, and there's going to be another one shortly. Anyway, lots of things coming to the channel, and I'm glad I had this time to catch up with you guys. Go fly one of the F89s in a test flight. They really are an interesting aircraft. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.